What if every thought you had became your ally instead of your enemy? What if the voice inside your head lifted you up instead of dragging you down? And what if, in just 3 days, you could retrain that voice to become your greatest strength? Imagine the power of having your own mind work for you, not against you. Picture waking up and hearing a voice that motivates instead of criticizes. That voice is yours, and it's more influential than you realize. The way you talk to yourself each day silently shapes your mindset, decisions, and the way you see the world. And here's the truth. You don't need years of therapy or mountains of self-help books to turn that around. Just 3 intentional days can start a dramatic shift. This isn't hype. It's based on ancient Stoic practice, a method used by some of the most disciplined and resilient minds in history to build clarity, strength, and emotional control. Now, think about this. If you changed how you spoke to yourself, how would your confidence change? How would you handle stress? What kind of decisions would you start making? Let me show you how. Over the next 3 days, I challenge you to talk to yourself in a completely different way. Instead of self-criticism, use self-command. Replace fear with calm reasoning. Trade self-doubt for clarity and resolve. I'll guide you through it, the exact phrases, how to use them, and why they work. This isn't about hype. It's about rewiring your inner dialogue so it serves you every day, not just when things are easy. But before we move forward, I have a challenge. For you right now, drop a comment saying, "I'm bigger than my challenges," because you are. Challenges aren't meant to define you. They exist to refine you. Every time you overcome an obstacle, you're not just solving a problem, you're strengthening your mind, building your resilience, and shaping your future. Character. Now here's where the transformation begins. Your words shape your world. Let that sink in. If every thought you repeated became true, what kind of life would you be living? Would it be filled with confidence, clarity, and calm? Or would it be clouded by fear, frustration, and doubt? Most people, without even noticing, become their own harshest critics. They repeat negative stories in their minds. I always mess things up. I'm not good enough. Nothing ever works out for me. And slowly, those words become beliefs. Beliefs that sabotage potential before it even begins. But Stoicism teaches something different. It reminds us it's not the outside world that shapes our reality. It's how we perceive it. And perception is built through language. The words you repeat to yourself form the lens through which you see life. So here's your mission. For the next 3 days, consciously shift that internal script. Speak with purpose. Encourage your mind to follow a new path, one led by reason, resilience, and inner control. And this is just the beginning. Earlier, we explored how the words you whisper to yourself quietly shape your world, and how, in just 3 days, you can begin to shift your internal dialogue to serve your highest self. Now let's dive into the first practical step to make that transformation real. Step 1. Watch your words like a hawk. Start by becoming aware of the phrases you say to yourself on autopilot. Those quiet, often unnoticed comments like, "I'm never good enough," or "things always go wrong for me." They may slip out casually, but they shape the way you see yourself. So when you catch one, pause, reframe it. Instead of "I'm a failure," try "I'm learning and growing with every attempt." Replace "nothing ever works for me" with "I'm making progress and every step forward makes me stronger." These aren't just feel-good phrases. They're commands to your subconscious, forming the mental scripts you live by. One of the most overlooked traps? Self-deprecating humor. Ever said, "I'm terrible at this," or joked, "My life is a mess"? Even in jest, those words land deep. They reinforce a narrative, and over time, that narrative becomes your reality. Instead, shift the focus from tearing yourself down to building yourself up. Speak from the perspective of growth. I'm evolving every day. I have skills I can improve and refine. The Stoics believe the mind is like a wild horse. It needs a rider, a guide. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." If your thoughts construct your reality, wouldn't it make sense to train your mind like you would train a muscle? In tough moments, resist the urge to speak from despair. Instead of saying, "This is impossible," ask yourself, "What's one small step I can take next?" Rather than declaring, "I'm anxious," try, "I'm learning how to manage my emotions better." Because what you say to yourself again and again becomes your mental code. And in just 3 focused days, you can begin rewriting that code to create a foundation of clarity, confidence, and steady action. But remember, Stoicism is not about pretending everything is fine. It's not blind positivity. It's about building a mindset that is realistic, resilient, and strategically powerful. Now, let's go one step deeper. Step 2. Question your emotions. Before they control you, think about how different your life could be if you paused before reacting, before snapping in anger, before drowning in anxiety, before letting frustration take the wheel. Now, what if you stopped, examined the emotion, and chose your response? How many heated arguments would you avoid? How many poor decisions could you spare yourself from? The reality is, most people operate on emotional autopilot, reacting without thought, driven by impulses that don't always reflect the truth. The Stoics taught that peace of mind doesn't come from control over the outside world, but from control over your interpretation of it. As Epictetus wisely said, it's not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them. So here's your challenge for the next 3 days. Whenever you feel a strong emotional pull, anger, fear, overwhelm, pause. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this? Is this emotion guiding me or blinding me? This simple pause creates space. And in that space, you find clarity. You protect your energy. You take back your power. And that brings us to the next vital step, learning how to create space between what happens and how you respond. Earlier, we explored the power of creating space between stimulus and response, the pause that gives you control over your emotions. Now, let's go deeper into how you can use that space to change not just how you react, but how you interpret the world around you. So, when something irritates you, whether it's a rude comment, a traffic jam, or a missed opportunity, pause. Take a slow, deliberate breath. Then ask yourself, is this really worth my energy? You'll find that most things that upset us in the moment lose almost all their weight just a few hours later. They fade. But the way we react to them, that can linger. That's why your power lies in your pause. Another critical point. Learn to identify the root of your emotion. When a wave of anger, fear, or frustration rises, don't just follow it blindly. Ask yourself, is this emotion coming from something truly serious, or am I exaggerating it because of my interpretation? Most of the time, it's not the situation itself that triggers our suffering. It's the expectations we attach to it. That's where strategic reflection comes in. Something doesn't go as planned. Don't jump to, "This is a disaster." Instead, ask, "What can I learn from this?" Someone offends you? Rather than reacting with immediate anger, pause and consider, does this person really have power over my emotional state? Marcus Aurelius said it best. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Another powerful tool you can use right now: change your internal narrative. If you're feeling anxious before making an important decision, don't say, "I don't know what to do." Instead say, "I'm going to calmly analyze this situation and choose the best path forward." These small mental shifts, even just in phrasing, can reshape how you approach obstacles. You begin to see challenges not as threats, but as opportunities for clarity, discipline, and self-mastery. Remember, Stoicism doesn't ask you to suppress emotions. It teaches you to understand them and then use them to your advantage. When you pause and question before reacting, you reduce regret, make smarter decisions, and slowly build an inner strength that's unshakable. Now, let's zoom out. The third key insight. Reality is neither positive nor negative. You define it. Think about that for a moment. Is what happens to you truly good or bad, or is it just the way you interpret it? Two people can experience the same event. One falls apart, while the other becomes stronger. One sees misfortune, the other sees possibility. Why? Because of their perception. The Stoics taught that facts are neutral. It's our judgment that paints them as good or bad. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you are distressed by anything external, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment of it. And this you have the power to change at any moment." And so, here's your challenge for the next 3 days. Start shifting your interpretation. Whenever something feels negative, or stop, breathe, and ask, "Is there another way to see this?" That's how you turn obstacles into lessons. That's how you reclaim your power. Previously, we explored how perception defines your reality, and how a simple shift in how you interpret events can completely change your experience. Now, let's turn that insight into action. When you make a mistake or face criticism, what's the first thing your mind says? If it's something like, "This is a disaster," hit pause. Ask yourself, is this truly the end of the world, or just a temporary setback? Because here's the truth. The way you label a situation directly affects how you respond to it. Your mind reacts not to the event itself, but to the meaning you give it. So try this next time. When something doesn't go your way, reframe it. Instead of spiraling into defeat, practice what the Stoics called conscious reinterpretation, the skill of looking deeper and asking, "Is there something useful hidden in this? What can I learn from what just happened?" The Stoics believe that every obstacle hides a lesson, that difficulties are not detours, but teachers in disguise. As Seneca famously said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." So when a challenge shows up, don't shrink from it. Treat it like a test, one designed to sharpen your resilience. Also, pay close attention to your language. When you say things like, "This is terrible," or nothing ever works out for me, you're reinforcing a false sense of helplessness. Try this instead. This is a setback, but I can handle it. This is challenging, but it doesn't define me. Small changes in wording shift your emotional state, and over time, that shift changes how you act, how you lead yourself, and how you face adversity. Another powerful tool is emotional detachment. When something unexpected happens, take a mental step back. Ask yourself, if I were watching this from the outside as a calm observer, would I still see it as such a big problem? Often, you'll realize you were reacting to the story in your mind, not the situation itself. Stoicism doesn't tell you to ignore reality. It tells you that you get to decide how you respond to it. When you train your mind to step back, even briefly, you'll begin facing challenges differently. You'll experience less stress. You'll grow stronger, more composed, more grounded. Which leads us to the fourth principle. Accept what you can't change and change what you can. Think. For a moment, how much time and energy have you spent worrying about things completely outside of your control? How many sleepless nights? How much anxiety? All because you were wrestling with the inevitable. Now imagine what would happen if you let go of that resistance. If instead of wasting energy on the unchangeable, you accepted it with calmness and directed your focus only toward what you can influence. The Stoics taught that life consists of two categories, things we control and things we don't. Wisdom is knowing the difference. As Epictetus put it, some things are up to us, some are not. So here's your challenge for the next 3 days. Stop fighting what's beyond your control and channel your energy toward the things within your reach. Here's how to begin. Every time you feel anxious, frustrated, or overwhelmed, run a simple test. Ask yourself, is this within my control or not? If it's not, release it. If it is, make a plan. Take action. Move forward. Previously, we explored the importance of accepting what you can't control and taking deliberate action on what you can. Now it's time to apply that mindset in real everyday situations. Let's say you miss a flight. No amount of stress or frustration will bring that plane back to the gate. So instead of getting angry or panicking, shift your focus immediately. What can I do now? Can you book another flight? Rearrange your schedule? Use the time productively instead of emotionally? Or imagine you're stuck in traffic. You can't make the cars move any faster, but you can use the time to listen to an audiobook, reflect on your day, or even practice patience, which might be exactly the lesson life is offering you in that moment. This is how the Stoics approached life, by reclaiming control through mindset, not through circumstances. Another essential strategy, change how you deal with failure and criticism. If you've made a mistake, own it. Accept what happened, but don't waste time beating yourself up. Ask instead, what did I learn from this? Every failure carries a message, but only if you're calm enough to listen. And when someone criticizes you unfairly, you can't control their opinion, but you can control your response. Reacting with anger gives them power. Responding with composure keeps that power with you. Also, and this one runs deep, let go of the what ifs. How many hours have you spent thinking, what if I had done it differently? What if I had said something else? These thoughts don't lead to clarity. They lead to rumination, regret, and wasted energy. You can't rewrite the past, but you can shape the future. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, embrace everything that happens to you, for it is part of the plan the universe has laid out for you. So here's a powerful exercise. Practice active acceptance. When something difficult or painful happens, tell yourself, this has happened. How can I now move forward in the best way possible? Acceptance doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean giving up. It means having the emotional intelligence to stop fighting what is and start acting on what can be. Because when you accept what you can't change and take action where you do have power, you become calmer, more effective, and far wiser. That brings us to the next Stoic truth. Your character matters more than your reputation. If you lost your reputation today, what would be left? So many people spend their entire lives trying to please others, chasing approval, fearing judgment, and bending themselves to fit into someone else's opinion. But Stoicism teaches that your character, not your reputation, is what truly defines you. Seneca said it best, care more about your character than your reputation, because your character is what you truly are, while your reputation is merely what others think you are. Your reputation can be misunderstood, it can be twisted or torn down. But if you know you're living with integrity, aligned with your values, then none of that noise matters. So here's your challenge for the next 3 days. Stop wasting energy trying to control what others think of you. Focus instead on being the best version of yourself, honest, grounded, and true. Previously, we reflected on the power of character, how living by your values is far more important than chasing approval. Now, let's talk about how to align your actions with those values, no matter who's watching. Before you make any decision, pause and ask yourself, am I doing this because it's right or because I want approval? If your answer leans toward seeking approval, that's a red flag. Rethink your motive. The need for approval is like an invisible chain. It doesn't rattle or scream, but it restricts you all the same. It keeps you small, reactive, and disconnected from your true self. Here's the truth. You will never have full control over your reputation. People will misunderstand you. Some will judge you without the full picture. Others may even spread rumors. But what can you really do about that? Nothing. Except stay rooted in your integrity. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge against slander is not to act like the person they claim you are." So if your conscience is clear, let that be enough. Your reputation is just an external image, not a definition of your worth. Another important practice, let go of the need to be understood by everyone. Sometimes doing the right thing might bring criticism. Envy may twist your intentions. But if your actions are guided by truth and principle, the opinions of others lose their grip on your peace. Remember, the people who truly matter, those with insight and sincerity, will recognize your character. Maybe not immediately, but eventually. Here's another Stoic mindset shift. Detach from external validation. Before you ask yourself, will this impress others? Ask this instead. If nobody were watching, would I still do this? If the answer is yes, you're staying true to yourself. If the answer is no, you're likely acting for approval, not principle. This shift changes everything. When you stop obsessing over how you're perceived and start focusing on how you live, you become freer, more confident, more real, which brings us to one of the most important Stoic principles of all. The present is all you truly have. How many times have you gotten stuck in the past, replaying regrets, reliving mistakes, or wishing for a different outcome? Or maybe you've found yourself anxious about the future, spinning stories in your mind, predicting disasters that haven't even happened yet. The truth is, none of those places, past or future, are real. Only now exists. The Stoics understood this deeply. They taught that constantly living in the past or worrying about the future is a trap, one that steals your attention from the only thing that truly belongs to you, this very moment. Marcus Aurelius captured it perfectly. Man's life is just a moment. Our essence is in the now. So here's your challenge for the next 3 days. Stop clinging to what's gone. Stop fearing what hasn't arrived. Redirect your full attention to the present. Let's begin with a practical first step. Every time your mind drifts back to a past mistake or a situation you wish had gone differently, tell yourself, that moment is over. It no longer exists. In the last part, we talked about breaking free from regret and future anxiety, about reclaiming your attention and anchoring it in the present. Now, let's take that even further and explore how you can build a grounded, fulfilling life, starting from this very moment. Instead of replaying the past or worrying about what might go wrong, ask yourself, what can I do right now? Shift your energy away from what you can't change and invest it in something you can build. This mindset becomes even more powerful when you apply it to thoughts about the future. Whenever your mind drifts into anxiety, the what if it all goes wrong spiral, catch it. Then gently redirect your focus and ask, what small action can I take right now to improve my situation? Because the future isn't some distant place. It's shaped by what you do today. Your presence now determines your peace later. Another essential practice, mindfulness in daily life. It's simple, but it's life-changing. If you're eating, truly taste your food. If you're in conversation, listen. Don't just wait for your turn to speak. If you're exercising, feel each movement, each breath, each stretch. The mind naturally wanders. It jumps ahead, loops back, skips the moment entirely. But like a muscle, it can be trained. And when your mind and body are finally in the same place, life becomes richer, fuller, real. Here's another powerful shift. Stop postponing life. How often have you told yourself, I'll be happy when I get that job. Once I have more money, I'll start enjoying life. But the Stoics remind us, the perfect moment never arrives. Life isn't waiting for you after success or after achievement. It's happening now. If you don't learn to appreciate the present, even your biggest goals will feel empty when you finally reach them. Peace doesn't come from changing the world outside. It comes when you accept the moment and choose to live fully within it. When you ground yourself in the now, your worries shrink, your clarity grows, and your life becomes far more meaningful, which leads us to a truth the Stoics held above. Nearly all others, adversity strengthens the mind. When life tests you, how do you respond? Do you see challenges as unfair burdens? Or do you see them for what they really are? Opportunities to grow? Most people wish for a smooth life, one without conflict, stress, or obstacles. But the Stoics taught the opposite. True strength is built through discomfort. True wisdom comes from experience, and true character is revealed under pressure. Seneca said it perfectly, Fire tests gold. Adversity tests the brave. Hardships aren't punishments. They're training grounds, forging you into someone more resilient, more grounded, more ready for the path ahead. So here's your challenge for the next 3 days. Stop resisting difficulty. Start treating it like a test. 1. Preparing you for something greater. The first step? Shift how you perceive problems. When something difficult happens, pause and ask, how can this make me stronger? What lesson is hidden in this moment? That one mindset shift can turn a setback into a stepping stone. And here's another powerful Stoic practice to build mental toughness: voluntary discomfort. Because if you always stay inside your comfort zone, even the smallest inconvenience can feel overwhelming. Earlier, we talked about how adversity isn't a punishment, it's preparation. And one of the most powerful ways to build strength: choosing discomfort on purpose. At first, discomfort may feel unbearable, but when you intentionally put yourself in uncomfortable situations, like waking up earlier than you want, facing a fear you usually avoid, or going an entire day without complaining, something changes. Your mental resilience begins to grow. You prove to yourself that discomfort isn't the enemy. Avoidance is. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. So the next time something doesn't go as planned, instead of falling into frustration, shift into adaptation. Ask yourself, what's the best way to respond right now? If your day takes a turn for the worse, treat it as a test of patience. If an unexpected obstacle appears, see it as training, another rep in the gym of life, strengthening your mental endurance. The more often you respond this way, the more unshakable you become. You stop reacting emotionally to every twist and turn and start navigating life with calm, grounded control. Another key mindset shift: avoid the trap of victimhood. Stoicism teaches that you don't get to choose what happens to you, but you always get to choose your response. So the next time you feel the urge to complain, try doing the opposite. Lean into the challenge. Tell yourself, this will make me stronger. Choose to become the kind of person who grows through pressure, not someone who crumbles under it. The Stoics remind us, adversity isn't a curse, it's a training ground, and the more challenges you face head-on, the more prepared you'll be for whatever life throws your way. That brings us to the next core principle of mental mastery. Not everything deserves your reaction. How many times have you drained your energy reacting to something that, looking back, just didn't matter? A careless comment, a moment of rudeness, a provocation meant only to get under your skin. Now imagine if you stopped reacting impulsively and instead chose where to invest your energy with precision. That's power. That's presence. That's Stoicism. The Stoics teach, not every stimulus deserves a response. And knowing when to stay silent is not weakness. It's strength in its highest form. Marcus Aurelius wrote, if something external disturbs you, it is not the thing itself that troubles you, but your judgment of it. And this, you have the power to change. So here's your challenge for the next 3 days. Before you react to criticism, provocation, or any unexpected frustration, pause. Ask yourself, does this really deserve my attention? Here's your first practical step. Learn to separate the signal from the noise. Not every argument is worth entering. Not every insult needs a comeback. If someone tries to irritate or provoke you, try silence. Not responding is a response, and often it's the strongest one you can give. One more powerful Stoic practice. When you feel a strong emotional reaction rising, don't act immediately. Pause. Observe that feeling. Then ask, is this emotion worth acting on? Or is it just a passing storm? Previously, we explored the power of choosing your reactions, understanding that not every provocation deserves your energy. Now let's take that even deeper and talk about how to respond, not just with silence, but with wisdom. When something stirs your anger or pushes your buttons, don't respond immediately. Instead, take a slow, steady breath and ask yourself, will reacting to this actually help me in any meaningful way? If the answer is no, let it go. Move on with your peace intact. And here's another crucial step. Learn to ignore without carrying resentment. If something isn't worth your words, it's also not worth your mental space. Don't just walk away. Release it internally. If someone unfairly criticizes you, resist the urge to explain or defend. Remind yourself, my peace is worth more than my need to be right. Epictetus once said, if someone tries to provoke you, remember, the insult only exists if you choose to accept it. Another vital principle, avoid reacting too quickly. When something upsets you, give it time. That feeling of urgency, that need to respond right now, most of the time it fades, and fast. Before replying to a negative comment or making a decision out of emotion, pause and ask, will this still matter a week from now? If not, it's probably not worth your energy today. Stoicism teaches us that every reaction comes with a cost. When you react to everything, you scatter your mental energy. But when you choose where to invest your attention, you develop something priceless: clarity, peace, and real self-control. And now let's turn inward to one of the most overlooked battles you'll ever face: being your own master, not your own enemy. Think about how you talk to yourself. If you truly listened, would you notice how often your inner voice is your harshest critic? The mind can either guide you forward or trap you in fear and doubt. It all depends on how you train it. Now, imagine how different your life would look if, instead of sabotaging yourself, you spoke to yourself like a wise coach, someone who genuinely wants to see you grow. The Stoics taught that your internal dialogue shapes your external reality. If you're constantly repeating, I always mess up, I'm not good enough, I'll never figure this out, those thoughts become beliefs, and those beliefs shape your actions. But when you speak to yourself with logic and discipline, not cruelty, everything changes. Epictetus said it plainly, no man is free who cannot command himself. So here's your challenge for the next 3 days. Replace self-sabotage with self-discipline. Talk to yourself not as a harsh judge, but as a mentor coaching a student, firm but fair, tough but compassionate. The first practical step? Start paying close attention to your inner dialogue. Whenever you catch yourself thinking, I'm a failure, or I'll never get there, stop, pause, then reframe the thought. Ask yourself, if I were my own mentor, how would I respond to this? In the last section, we explored the importance of becoming your own mentor, replacing harsh inner criticism with wise, disciplined guidance. Now let's take that inner growth one step further by combining ownership with self-compassion. Whenever you catch yourself falling into destructive self-talk, pause and shift. Ask, what would I advise myself right now? Replace harsh judgment with clear, constructive analysis. Your role is not to tear yourself down, it's to build yourself up with truth and clarity. One essential Stoic exercise is this: take full responsibility for your progress. But don't punish yourself for your mistakes. When something goes wrong, don't spiral into guilt. Ask instead, what can I learn from this? Marcus Aurelius offered a powerful reminder. The mistake is expecting others not to fail, or thinking that you'll never fail yourself. Everyone stumbles. Real growth comes not from shame, but from correction, from choosing to learn rather than linger in regret. Also, avoid the trap of comparison. Your journey is uniquely yours. Measuring yourself against someone else's pace is like planting a seed and getting angry that it's not growing like the one next to it. So instead of asking, why am I not there yet? Ask, what can I do right now to move forward? Because progress isn't made in giant leaps. It's made in small, intentional steps, taken daily. Another powerful Stoic principle: practice rational self-compassion. This doesn't mean letting yourself off the hook or avoiding responsibility. It means motivating yourself with reason, not cruelty. Think of this: if a friend came to you feeling discouraged, would you shame them, or would you encourage them? With honesty and kindness, treat yourself the same way. The voice in your head should be your coach, not your executioner. Stoicism teaches that transformation happens from the inside out. When you become your own master, not your own enemy, you grow stronger, wiser, and less vulnerable to the traps of self-sabotage. And now, we arrive at a practice that separates those who thrive from those who stay stuck. Don't complain. Act or accept. Take a moment and think. How many times have you caught yourself complaining about something that you couldn't actually change? How much energy has been wasted repeating the same negative thoughts over and over without taking action? Now imagine flipping that habit. What if, instead of complaining, you made a conscious choice every time to either take real action or calmly accept what cannot be changed? The Stoics taught this truth. Complaining about what's unchangeable isn't just unhelpful, it's a drain on your mental strength. If something is within your power, then take action. If it's beyond your control, accept it fully and with peace. Seneca put it bluntly and beautifully: either endure it bravely or stop complaining. So here's your challenge for the next 3 days. Every time you feel the urge to complain, pause. Then do one of two things. Take practical action if change is possible, or accept reality fully if it isn't. The first practical step is simple but powerful. When a negative thought surfaces, ask yourself, does this have a solution? If the answer is yes, then act. If the answer is no, then let it go and move forward. Because staying stuck in outrage or frustration mode doesn't change your reality, but reclaiming your focus does. In the last part, we explored the choice between complaining and acting, how reclaiming your attention leads to peace and progress. Now let's take that insight even deeper by turning challenges into deliberate choices. Here's the truth. Complaining feeds frustration, but conscious action creates freedom. If you're stuck in a job you hate, venting won't change anything. You have two real options. Take steps toward a new opportunity, or accept where you are for now while strategically planning your next move. If you're stuck in traffic, anger won't clear the road. So why not shift your mindset? Use that time to grow. Listen to an audiobook, learn something new, reflect on your goals, or simply practice patience, which is a muscle worth strengthening. Another mindset to eliminate? Phrases like, "This isn't fair," or "Why does this always happen to me?" Stoicism teaches us that life isn't about whether something feels fair or unfair. It's about how we respond. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your interpretation of it. And this you can change at any moment. You have power not over all events, but over how you frame them. Here's a great exercise. Start observing chronic complainers around you. Notice how their complaints never lead anywhere. They stay stuck, while people who take action or practice calm acceptance move forward. So ask yourself honestly, do I want to be someone who solves problems or someone who just talks about them? When you stop complaining, you free up mental bandwidth to focus on what actually matters. That's when you gain peace. That's when you become more effective. And that leads us to the next Stoic truth, one that changes how you see every challenge. Everything is temporary. Even your problems. Think back to a difficult moment in your life, something that once consumed your thoughts, weighed heavily on your mind, and maybe even kept you awake at night. Now, realize it passed. You made it through. In fact, maybe you barely remember it at all. That's because everything, no matter how intense, eventually fades. Pain, joy, fear, struggle. Nothing lasts forever. The Stoics taught this clearly. Nothing in life is permanent. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "All things we see pass away, and will soon turn into mere legends. What feels overwhelming today will eventually become just another story, one more chapter in your growth." So, here's your challenge for the next 3 days. When problems arise, remind yourself that this will pass. Stay grounded, stay calm, avoid impulsive reactions, because every storm, no matter how fierce, eventually clears. The first practical step is simple but powerful. Before you let a challenge take over your mind, pause and ask, will this still matter a year from now? Most of the time, the honest answer is no. What feels unbearable now will lose its weight with time. Another important Stoic mindset: accept the temporary nature of emotions. When sadness, fear, or frustration shows up, don't resist it, but don't surrender to it either. Instead, gently remind yourself, this is just a passing cloud. It's not forever. In the last part, we explored the idea that everything is temporary, including your emotions. Now let's build on that by learning how to detach, observe, and transform your perspective. Feelings are like clouds. They appear, shift, and disappear. They aren't permanent truths. When you're overwhelmed, try reminding yourself, this is a passing state, not a fixed reality. One powerful Stoic tool to reinforce this is emotional detachment. When something is bothering you, step back mentally and imagine yourself as an outside observer, like you're watching someone else go through the same experience. Ask, if a friend were in this exact situation, what advice would I give them? Chances are you'd be calmer, wiser, and more solution-focused. That shift in perspective helps you see the situation with greater clarity and react with far less emotional weight. And here's another powerful reminder. Don't cling, not to suffering and not to success. Stoicism teaches that we shouldn't sink into despair during tough times. But just as importantly, we shouldn't get too comfortable or arrogant during good times either. Why? Because everything changes. Nothing is permanent. Not pain, not pleasure, not struggle, not success. Understanding this truth gives us serenity. When you stop expecting things to last forever, you become more adaptable, more grounded, and far less reactive. No pain lasts forever. No joy guarantees permanence. And once you fully accept that, you unlock a kind of quiet strength that helps you navigate anything life throws your way. Now we arrive at the 12th and final Stoic principle, one that ties everything together. Life is a matter of perspective. Let's pause on that. If you could improve your life just by changing how you see things, wouldn't you want to try? The truth is, it's not the situation itself that defines your experience. It's the lens through which you view it. The Stoics taught that it's not events that disturb us, but our interpretation of them, as Epictetus wrote. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view they take of them. You can see a problem as a burden or as a challenge. You can see failure as a dead end or as a lesson. You can take criticism as an insult or as feedback that helps you grow. So here's your challenge for the next 3 days. Before you label anything as good or bad, pause. Shift your perspective. Start with this practical first step. When something feels negative, ask yourself, is there another way to look at this? If you make a mistake, don't spiral into blame. Instead, ask, what can I learn from this to become better? Another powerful Stoic tool, take the observer's perspective. Imagine stepping outside yourself and looking at the situation. As a neutral bystander, what would you say to someone in your exact position? Often you'll realize that you've been overreacting, not because the situation is unbearable, but because you're too emotionally entangled. And finally, turn every challenge into a test. If something unexpected ruins your plans, don't. Say, this ruined my day. Say, this is a test of my patience, my flexibility, and my self-control. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us in the last section, we talked about shifting perspective, about seeing every obstacle not as a dead end, but as a stepping stone. Now, let's complete that thought with one final powerful reminder. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the obstacle in the path becomes the path. What feels like a setback today may actually be the very thing that shapes your strength tomorrow. When you start seeing life through the lens of impermanence, everything changes. If something is bothering you, ask yourself, will this still matter a year from now? Most of the time, the answer is no. Problems fade. But the way you choose to react, that leaves a lasting impact. So, learn to approach each difficulty with more wisdom and with a little more lightness. You don't have to carry everything so heavily. Stoicism teaches a simple truth. When you change your perspective, you change your life. If you train your mind to see challenges as opportunities, frustrations as lessons, and obstacles as part of the journey, your path becomes not only lighter, but far more meaningful. So congratulations on making it this far. If you're still here, it means something powerful. You're investing in yourself. You're strengthening your mindset. You're seeking timeless wisdom, not just to understand it, but to apply it. And that alone is the first real step toward lasting transformation. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which lesson hit home the most? Which one will you start using today? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. And if you're not sure what to say, then simply type gratitude so I know you made it to the end and you're walking this path of growth with me. Until the next video, live wisely, speak clearly, and practice everything you've learned today.